Sorry for the technical glitches, everybody. We just had a major technical grenade go off behind the scenes. Just realized we're basically dead air for like 25 minutes. I believe the feed's coming through on the Flatout side now, as well as Tarnation.
Everything is
okay. Everything's sort of crashed. Didn't look like it crashed, and I guess it crashed anyhow. Thank you for your patience.
So we're under our second caution. We ended up having, I guess we could say, a mini big one for our first yellow. Didn't really have a lot of damage sustained by any of the drivers involved, but the second caution, I don't think we could say the same. Jeff Crivello in the 36 took quite a tumble down to the inside of 3 and 4. Brian Rawson caught air, so too did Dick Hagley. Massive pileup on the back straightaway here. And the big reason for Crivello was after his car spun up against the outside wall and was riding down the banking, it caught the grip of the racetrack and began to barrel roll down to the apron, and it just killed the motor in the result at.
Oh, man, there's some cars doing barrel rolls.
Oh, the 38 was barrel rolling down the very bottom there.
That is weird. Yeah, the 36 kind of did a very strange little backspin there. It's kind of weird looking.
Just about everybody behind that wreck, for the most part, either have to slow for the wreck or got pieces of it. Pole sitter Jessica Loreley was in that. I saw Chris Elliott in that. John Godfrey.
She told me that she may have been involved in it, but she didn't exactly get damage. It says she has no damage on her car.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of drivers
look at that, almost
had contact, but didn't really get damage out of it. I see Jeremy Jeffries, Terry Bombard, Ulysses Sandoval. You mentioned about Rodney Sullivan there. His car was sliding. Yeah, sliding sideways, and those right tires just
did Cody Lamas make it
ripped
through?
Into the track.
Did Cody Lamas make it through?
He's pussyfooting at the rear, so probably.
You can't say that on TV.
Just did. Oh, yeah, the 38. Focusing on all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
Where did it even start? It looked like that high line kind of just got kinked up.
We may be having a little bit of a funny moment between the 48 and the 17.
Yeah, right now they're in 4th and 5th here. Brian Schilling.
Yeah,
so
look,
before we had the technical
difficulty, she's pushed him like the Kyle Busch, Ron Hornaday moment at Texas.
So before we had those technical difficulties, that first wreck, we saw Brian Schilling go up and over onto his roof, went back onto his wheels, grabbed a gear, and crossed the line in 19th. He's now leading this race, albeit probably planning on coming to pit road this second time by, get a little bit of extra fuel in the tank, but could be a very valuable bonus point here, as well as we saw, especially last season in the playoffs, the elimination races. Those bonus points could be a difference maker into whether you were going to be above the cut line or below the cut line going into one of the elimination races to advance to the next round. Could be the same deal here with how these first two races have played out for drivers in terms of whether or not you're going to even point your way into the bus or not.
Yeah, currently just rewinding to the end of lap 7 to look at what happened to the 4, because we obviously weren't broadcasting back then. You can see the 4 takes a massive hit.
Yeah, both our wrecks so far here, these first two cautions have been our old friends ever since moving over to this Xfinity mod, bumper grab and hitbox. And I can tell you from experience, I took the opportunity here tonight again to kind of go out there, run a couple of laps in a pack and everything. And I will definitely say the hitbox on this mod is very unpredictable. I believe it was Robert Breedlove. I was running behind, and visibly it looks like you have space between your front bumper and a driver's back bumper, specifically when you're coming off of a corner. And sometimes you end up having the hitbox make contact. It stalls out your car back into the car behind you, and it can catch you by surprise. So with what we've seen, the growing pains here for these drivers from last season now here into this season, can completely understand it from a driver's point of view. Sometimes it looks like you're off that driver's back bumper, and the hitbox in the game says, nope, you're actually making contact with them.
How long does RTG tend to stick with a mod before they vote for a change? They usually go for a few seasons, right?
Usually somewhere between 3 to 4 seasons. The last mod that they ran, the Aero 88 series, I believe they ran that for 3 seasons. I believe that they ran the NCTS 09 mod for, I believe it was either 2 to 3 seasons. MedCup 2019 they stayed quite a number of seasons with, so they stayed with it a pretty good length of time, anywhere from 3 to 4 seasons before they ended up making the change. I know that their swap over here to the Xfinity mod was based off of the incredible racing that they had on their Wednesday night series. No, their Wednesday night series, they ended up running this mod for a few seasons, and their super speedway program was really, really good. So the suggestion was made to bring this over regularly on Thursday nights. I'll take a look at our inside rows of 1 and 2. Here are 2 former winners on the season, Chuck McClure and Denny Carroll. A couple of Chevrolets lined up nose to tail with Robert Breedlove and Greg Lovell to their outside. Good launch for the inside line here. McClure is going to be clear. Carroll might be as well. We'll see if both of them are going to stay committed to the bottom or shift up there to the top. No, they're actually going to stay low. Most times we end up seeing the race leader specifically run the bottom through 1 and 2, and then move up to that middle line when the energy starts to build down the back straightaway. Not the case, at least here on this restart lap.
Do you think sometimes they wait for their buddies to get clear too? Sometimes I think that happens.
Just possible.
So it looks like Jeff Crivello, after his wild tumble down the banking of turn 3, has retired from the race. The only driver currently out.
Crivello DeVille.
I think the list is shorter the drivers you don't have nicknames for. The short list.
Don't tempt him. He'll find one for every driver.
That'll be it. You gotta nickname this broadcast this week the off-air waste our breath podcast for 20 minutes. That's it was really good. I promise. We were these guys were doing a great job. It was all me not realizing that.
Oh, trouble in the back! Robert Spring up into the wall, back down into traffic. Second incident we're gonna have in the tri-oval tonight, and at least a dozen drivers caught up in this one.
Somebody caught up. Who was it that hit the wall, Seth?
I believe it was Robert Spring was the driver I saw go up to the outside wall there. Off of turn 4.
Somebody cut up in front right there.
Yeah, that's Doug Woolley in the 99. Late move up in front of Robert Spring. Bumper grab the front of the 074.
And Cody Lamas just comes to a complete stop. That's typical Cody.
Chris Elliott, Jessica Lorley, Javier Negron all involved in that one. Kind of similar to our first caution that occurred in just about the same spot. Contact made, but relatively light contact. I don't see anything untoward that would stand out to me saying that any of these drivers involved are not going to still be competitive.
Yeah, that wasn't too much damage, really, for some of these cars, like Ulysses and Jess, maybe even the 9, and the Cody Lamas, who almost got taken out by Chris Elliott. What was his name again in the car that put him up in the wall?
Robert Spring?
No, the other one. The one that put
Doug
him
Woolley.
Doug Woolley, okay. Just got to time those moves right, man.
Yeah.
That was probably a little bit.
It's weird, again, like you guys were saying about the hitboxes, it reacted like he was clear, and then after we got 3/4 of the way across the front of him, then the thing spun out.
It's deceptive. It really
Yeah.
is. Like, the hitbox on this particular mod is very deceptive. And from what I remember, this is a usual staple of the Sim Racing Design Xfinity mods as well. As I recall, the NXS 15 mod also had this type of an issue. So you look like you're definitely clear. You look like you're not going to be bumping somebody, but there's just that extra tiny little bit of space on the front end of the race car where the hitbox actually extends out to, and it's something that drivers have tried to get adjusted to, but sometimes what you think it's going to do is what happens. Other times it catches you by surprise, and when you're close quarter racing at a super speedway too, that's what makes things really difficult. If we were racing 1.5 miles of road course, we probably wouldn't have to really worry about the hitbox all that much, but when it comes to having to bump draft or block in the close confines of a super speedway, definitely ends up being something that we talk about a lot.
Hitbox is really the most important thing in here too. And I mean, this is what I believe the 3rd season now with this mod.
Second.
Is it 2nd?
Yep.
Okay. 2nd season with this mod, and I mean, I think the drivers even talked about it. Like, they know the hitboxes is like that, but for some reason they seem to still want to make those moves so suddenly. So there's got to be something that you got to adapt your driving style to.
It's a tough call too, especially when so many people show up on Thursday to race here, especially, right? Like every little move is amplified, and you think you got that space, and your spotter might be telling you you're clear, but we all know sometimes things change so quick that spotter might not necessarily be 100%.
And with so many drivers in the field on a weekly basis as well, the energy of the field is never the same depending on where you are. It could be entirely different from up at the front of the field to middle of the pack. You got to take into account potential checkups for respective lines. Obviously, we've talked about this racetrack and the different lanes, the difficulty there can be with trying to keep momentum up. If you're on that inside line, cars want to get really tight and push up off of 2 and 4. Obviously, a spacious racetrack, you can run 4 wide if you are able to find the room for it. It's not necessarily recommended, but it makes things interesting in terms of decision making for sure for these drivers. And I've been looking here, and a couple of drivers that have been collected up in some of these early incidents. I mentioned here when we were having our technical difficulties that drivers are looking at this point of the season for some semblance of consistency. If they aren't able to find that golden ticket with a victory into the playoffs, they want to have at least consistent top 5s, top 10s, heck, even top 15s will point you into the top 12 for a playoff spot. We've seen it done in seasons past. A lot of drivers have not been able to accomplish that here in these first 2 races, and a number of drivers have been collected up in these first 3 cautions that came into this race inside of the top 10. Javier Negron's been in at least 2 of these wrecks. John Godfrey, same for him. We saw Rodney Sullins have the grip flip on the back straightaway. Brian Schilling had the blowover. These are all drivers that came into tonight inside of the top 5 and top 10 in the standings after 2 races.
And we head into playoffs after 9, you said?
Correct. I believe it is 9 regular season races.
Right on. I'd like to take a minute, too, to thank everybody, of course, for watching on YouTube, both channels. Thank Flatout Racing for doing the commentary. And, of course, to the sponsor, well, Rolling Thunder, for coming in here and, as I always say, showing interest in the product. And, of course, for Redline Motorsports. I'm always going to get their name wrong. You think I'd write it down. Redline Performance Motorsports. Thanks, guys. You're awesome. Seth, back to you.
Mark Paglia going to be bringing us back here to green. He's led 6, about to go on 7 laps so far in this race. This will actually break a tie between him and Robert Breedlove for most laps led so far here tonight. Talk about a couple of drivers that would love to be able, with the points still as close as they are, be able to leapfrog through the standings with a solid run. Paglia coming into this race 24th in the standings. Breedlove currently finds himself in 32nd in points. So a win be great, but I don't think these drivers would be disappointed with a top 5 or a top 10, as I believe Craig Hagley just went around on the back straightaway.
Yes, sir.
No caution as the spin took place down below the yellow line, deemed off the racing surface. Bear in mind, however, if a driver was responsible for spinning him out, they're going to have to come to pit road here under green flag conditions to avoid a base penalty.
Carroll looking to the inside.
Yep, and that's exactly where he was last time. Carroll has definitely stepped up. Got to say that in this season alone, man, and even at the end of last season, he figured out, I guess you want to say, the formula when it comes to these super speedway races. Like, he knows where you got to position yourself in the right lines and who you want to work with and everything like that. So, I mean, like right here, you got the outside lane working here, but the inside in the corners is where you want to be. You don't want to wait till that outside lane gets broken up, especially when the third lane gets going here. I am not sure if we did look at the spinner on the backstretch or not. I was told that somebody just kept coming down the racetrack and then eventually got spun. So that call could not possibly be called on the person who ended up doing the spinning. If that makes sense.
So it may have been Craig Hagley who would have been at fault. So obviously, if it was deemed on him and he ends up having the spin out, he wouldn't have to serve a penalty down pit road since he was the only driver that basically got involved in said incident. He'll obviously be hoping for a caution to be able to catch back up here to the field. But going back to your point there, Michael, about Denny Carroll, we obviously saw the consistency last season. He ended up pointing his way into a playoff spot late in the season. He was in the conversation for a number of victories, was actually leading the field coming to the checkered flag off of turn 4 before a late block bumper grab ended up causing him to unfortunately not get that victory. But yeah, I think to your point, he has definitely found the formula. And now, in the case for him, the Formioli, yes. In the case for him and Chuck McClure now, we talked with Denny last week. We talked with Chuck a couple of weeks ago. They've got the pressure off their back now. They know they're going playoff racing, and it opens up the door now for these remaining regular season races for them to be a little bit more aggressive. They don't have to really big picture race as much. They don't really have to worry about points unless they find themselves down nearing that 20th in the standings cut line. So there's a lot more freedom allotted to a driver when they're able to have a crooked number in the win column.
Speaking of McClure making that top line work, let's just go 3 wide the whole way through the field, why not?
Hey, got a lot of former champions lined up right there. That's a solid line. McClure, Martin, Jeffries, the defending champion, Wesley, and DeSpirito. They've all tasted championship gold here in RTG, and that's a pretty formidable third line. The only problem right now is they're kind of stalling themselves and that second lane out, and that's helping the inside line.
Speaking of tasting pure gold here, this Coke is really hitting a spot here. If Coca-Cola's watching and wants to sponsor, it'd be great.
We saw Denny Carroll. I'm going to leave that one alone. We saw Denny Carroll pick up his first career victory last week. Look at some of the names we got up here right now inside of the top 5. Bobby Farrell in that Andy's Frozen Custard Dark Horse Mustang, currently holding down the 4th position. And right behind him is Pat Makarski in the 197. Makarski ended up picking up a victory, I believe it was on Wednesday night, in the Aero 88 series here in RTG. Could he pick up maybe a first career Tally Challenge victory in season 66 as well? It's like that third lane has fizzled out. Second line trying to reform. That's Randy Waugh leading that top line now with help from Donnie Garrett and Josh Metallic.
May not be so powerful now, but that line, I'd give it like 5 laps. With enough people there, it will be right side by side with the leader. Maybe not even 5 laps. Give it like 2.
One of the drivers in that outside line there, Jeremy Jeffries, I feel like we haven't given him his due and given him a whole lot of time here on these two previous race broadcasts. He's the defending champion coming into this season, but he's not had the best of luck in these first two races. He struggled, had a damaged race car in the first race, and then last week really didn't make his way up into the top 10 until about the latter third of the race. He was able to finish top 10, jumped up to 18th in the points coming into tonight, but he's had a little bit of difficulty here coming in the defending champion of kind of finding a bit of traction. Maybe last week that top 10 performance was exactly what he needed, and now trying to knock on the door of the top 10 here again tonight.
Currently in 11th. Currently almost hitting 200 miles an hour, too. We're just watching him on the speed cam here. Coming down the front straightaway into turn number 1, he was hitting about 200 mile an hour. It's amazing the speed difference from the front row to like a mid-pack. If you get to sit back here in that funnel, you can definitely get that speedometer up.
Wreck off a turn 3. Caution is out.
Yep.
And that's huge for Craig Hagley. He was just about to go a lap down.
Greg Palmer.
It's like maybe only a single car involved.
They're going to give Hagley the lap back. They were just passing him after the caution came out, but they're going to give him the lap back.
Major checkup.
Back up a little bit there. Oh, man.
Just focused on Palmer right now on the back straight here.
Yeah, they were just all checked up there on that inside line. Spirito in front. The checkup actually started ahead to Spirito. It was Harris and Ricky, then back to Spirito, then to Palmer, then to Bombard. And you just can't, when you're in that tight of a line, you can't communicate that the checkup's taking place quickly enough for that third, fourth, fifth car to be able to know to bail out of the throttle.
Yeah, you can see the wave come back about 6 cars to get to the 22 before they ran out of space. That could have been a whole lot worse, too, going into that turn. Yes. It really only collected, like Ulysses got into him a little bit, but he'll be all right.
This is only our 4th caution of the evening, and really, to be honest, only one of our wrecks so far in this one have had any bearing on a driver or a car maybe not being competitive for the rest of the night, and that would have been the one where we saw Crivello and Ronnie Sullins both have their respective barrel rolls. Most of these other cautions have been light contact, and everybody has still appeared to be up to speed. We're going to see Jeremy Jeffrey stay out and lead a lap here for a bonus points. This is obviously going to put him back in traffic. I would assume he's going to come down pit road here on the second lap of caution. Same for Robert Spring, Brian Rawson, Terry Bombard, Jessica Lorley, and Cody Lamas. And it's an interesting strategy here because Jeremy was up inside, well, just inside or maybe just outside of the top 10. So he's giving up an awful lot of track position with this strategy.
Zoomed in on multiple races off pit road there. That was a little bit congested, to say the least.
With Craig Hagley getting his lap back. Doesn't look like we're going to have a need for a lucky dog. 2 drivers out of the race. We documented Jeff Crivello earlier. Looks like about 10 laps ago, Doug Woolley also came to pit lane, and he made the left-hand turn to the garage. So he will get credit for 39th
Doug
here
Woolley
in this one.
Woolley Mammoth.
Now, I think we had the technical difficulties when I brought this up, so I'll just mention it again real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up having 3 drivers come into tonight having finished inside the top 10 in the first 2 races. Our 2 former winners, Carroll and McClure, were 2 of those 3. The other one was Bob Seminara. He's not in the field here tonight. He was having technical difficulties with his PC prior to the race. They tried pushing the qualifying back an extra 5 minutes to give him time to be able to get back in, but unfortunately he was not able to get in the allotted amount of time, did not take the green flag. Now he'll probably end up getting a provisional, but with the fact we had a full field here tonight, it is going to be probably quite a plummet for driver of the 712 in the standings going into next week. So a tough break there for a driver that had back-to-back top 10s to start out the season. We'll have to see if he can recover some of those points in next week's race.
Just on board here right now at the 99 of Woolley. He pulled over going into turn 3 and he didn't even make it back to the pits. Something might have happened in his on his side of things. Maybe he had to leave.
Well, one thing that I do know is that drivers have been encouraged that if they do have to park early, they've been told, please do not come down pit road and park in your pit stall, because there is actually a glitch in NR where if you pull into your pit stall, they start servicing your car and you retire, it throws out a phantom caution. So Woolley would have done it correctly there, of making sure that he was down away from traffic so that there wouldn't be a reading of a stopped car on the racing surface, and not doing it in his pit stall to bring out an untimely yellow. So not sure exactly the reason for Woolley out of the race, but he came into this one 40th in points, had only accumulated 13 points in the first 2 races, so it's been a struggling start to the season for driver number 99. And you talk about a driver that has not had a good start to the season, going to be bringing us back to green here on this restart. That is Donnie Garrett. Donnie 27th in points after the first 2 races, and you'll recall last week Garrett was actually one of the drivers that was up there inside of the top 10, ended up getting lodged together with another car all the way through 3 and 4. Somehow they didn't wreck at that point in time. They wrecked off of turn 4, but that lost Donnie Garrett a shot at finishing up inside of the top 5, top 10, and cost him a lot of positions and a lot of points as a result. Looking to get a big chunk of that back here as he'll come around and actually be leading us for the first time here this evening.
Get ready for the green flag, see which line gets the better jump. Ooh, Denny timed that pretty good.
He's going to get the lap led here, but there is some space between himself and Greg Lovell. That's going to help the inside line be able to draft past him. Garrett might be able to get clear with the help of Josh Metallic off of turn 2. 30 laps to go, so we still have to make at least one more pit stop before the conclusion. It looks like bad news for Rodney Sullivan's fans. We documented that barrel roll. He had that grip flip on the back straightaway. Saw him pull out of line on that restart, fade to the back, and it looks like he might not be up to speed. Not sure how much it comes into play in terms of grip flips, but we had Rodney in our chat after that slide and barrel roll, and he said that he actually blew a right front tire when he was sliding down the back straightaway. I don't know if blowing a tire plays into the car maybe having that counterweight and barrel rolling or not. But obviously that would have caused some roof damage, I would assume, which has lost him that straight line speed, caused him to have a problem aerodynamically.
That's the one thing that really sucks on a super speedway.
And after playing this thing since it came out in 2002, Rod Weston will correct you, late 2002. It is amazing how sometimes you can still come up with things that will boggle your mind. Like, I've never seen that happen in 23 years, but there it is.
The thing for me that I've never been able to get a grasp on is moderate damage at a super speedway. So many times there'll be an incident that occurs with a driver where you think, oh, it's not so bad, they're going to be fine, and then they're 5 to 10 miles per hour off the pace. Then you have a car that blows over and everything, they're done. And next thing you know, you see them up inside of the top 10. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're cutting the trunk off. They got, scrape the roof numbers right off the car, and it's running better than a guy that shows no damage.
Never been able to figure that one out, specifically when it comes to super speedway racing.
I think what it is the damage is either off or it's realistic, and then moderate is kind of a 50-50 of both. It's like wherever you hit, sometimes it just doesn't register the damage. If it was realistic, it registers everything.
Moderate, you just hope you get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
See that bright green Quaker State Chevrolet of Grant Wesley formulating a third line there with help from Chuck McClure and company.
And we've always said this too. It does not usually take Grant Wesley long to get up to the front. With this mod, it's been a little difficult. We haven't seen him up at the front too much in these races.
Points coming into tonight for Grant Wesley.
I think that's what some of the furthest down he's been in points for a while.
And I mentioned this, it was in the opener. It seems like, as opposed to previous seasons, to your point of it being not quite as quickly getting to the front for Grant Wesley as we've seen in the past, it seems like you have to be a little bit more patient in generating a run here at this racetrack. Normally, we would end up seeing a tremendous amount of suck-up. You would end up seeing a middle line be able to pick up 2, 3, 4 spots depending on how tight the draft was in the span of a lap. Now you kind of have to do it car by car, lap by lap, and we continually see that third line kind of fizzle out when it gets alongside the second group. I mean, look right there, Grant Wesley, he was up 3 wide for around the 6th, 7th position. He's now all the way back. Last time by, crossing in the 12th spot. He lost about 6, 7 spots right there after they had gained a ton of positions a couple of laps prior.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. I mean, got to pick the right line.
And in the blink of an eye, especially when they get out 3 wide, everything, if you're beside 3 cars, there's a couple spots that are going to change every second or two as you make your way around the track also. I mean, in this thing, we only have that one scoring loop, which is going to be the line we're going over right now. But, like you said, like, oh man, he lost 10 spots. I'm like, yeah, but if they're running 3 wide, it's really haven't really lost any spots, because it could just be a matter of where you are in that pack. It's got to give everybody a position, right? And when there's 12 of you within a quarter second of each other, it's all a matter of splitting hairs.
Got a little dicey mid-pack there. Saw Mark Hagley have a moment off of 2, and as he was gathering it back up and coming back on to the racing surface, Brian Rawson kind of went up to the 3rd groove. And it's interesting, too, because, in previous seasons, we ended up having the alternation of Talladega one Thursday night, and then we'd go to Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway the following Thursday night. We're here at this new version of Talladega Superspeedway every Thursday night now here for season 66. And the interesting thing about it is seeing the 3rd lane and the 2nd lane kind of stall each other out. That was a characteristic of Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. We didn't see that quite as much at the 3rd version of Talladega Superspeedway. Normally, you could see the 2nd and the 3rd lane work their way up. We would see them gridlocked from the front row all the way back through the field, 3 abreast for multiple rows. It almost seems like now we've taken the version 3 of Talladega and Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, meshed them together, and that's brought about kind of the Burnt Screwdriver Raceway characteristics in the racing to the visuals of Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah, because Burnt Screwdrivers was changed to being a night version. But yeah, like you said, it's all in that track surface. And the setup, too. And every mod is different. It's all the little things add up to make, it's finding that perfect storm.
Perfect balance.
Yeah.
Perfect balance.
We've got the best mod, but do you have a good setup to go with the track? And is the track set up properly to go with the car setup? But what about the mod? Trucks are very different than cars, even though they always use the the same. They always use the same physics package, so technically it couldn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
True. Yep.
But it does, because you guys were talking before about hitboxes and those boundaries of the actual car models themselves.
I mean, with the hitbox conversation there, if you don't have the confidence of getting right up there and shoving a driver, it can make things difficult in trying to move a line forward. We ended up seeing back in the previous mod to this, when they had the Aero 88 cars, they got to a point where they were comfortable of shoving the car in front of them, even at some points in the corners. Doesn't look like we've quite gotten to that comfort level here with these Xfinity machines. Is that middle line now starting to move forward here? That's Joe DeSpirito leading that line, multi-time champion of the Challenge Series. Yet to score a top 10 this year. 2 races in, 31st in the point standings. And now it starts to get interesting in terms of what are these drivers thinking for that potential final pit stop. We've had 4 cautions so far here tonight, so we haven't had to see drivers come to pit road under green flag conditions, but we are now crossing over into the window where drivers could make it the rest of the way. We do know that they're going to have to come to pit road somewhere in the vicinity of 10 laps to go. That's about the furthest they can make it from the lap that we restarted on. Rodney Sullivan's going a lap down there as his car off the pace. He'd be the only driver off the lead lap right now, would be in line for a lucky dog position under any future yellows.
Hey, check around. Our in-race reporter said something about a spin possibly from the back straightaway. See if there's anybody far behind. Other than Craig Hagley, maybe Craig went for another spin.
I don't know. He's the only one I see back there, along with Rodney Sullins, who they just lapped. Everybody else appears to still be up in the lead pack. First time we've seen the 24 out in front as he clears to the bottom, along with Bernie Mobbs. Mark Pagley has led the most laps so far tonight, 15 circuits out in front. Denny Carroll, the only other driver that's led double digits at 10, and then it's kind of who's who of who's led after that. 6 laps apiece by Chuck McClure and Robert Breedlove. Joe DeSpirito just led his 3rd lap, 2 laps led for Josh Metallic and our pole sitter Jessica Loralee, and then 1 lap each for Donnie Garrett, Jeremy Jeffries, Brian Schilling, and Billy Elliser. So a number of drivers trying to cash in on that valuable bonus point for a lap led. Oh, trouble! Terry Bombard around there in turn 4. And this is going to throw fuel strategy out the window completely. Everybody now will be able to make it the rest of the way. I believe Grant Wesley was about half a car length ahead of DeSpirito when that caution flew, so he should be the race leader here under frozen field.
Mr. Cameraman, I would like to see that wreck. And by that I mean Seth.
Yeah, it looks like Javier got in the middle of that.
Greg Lovell on the inside, kind of pushing up the racetrack.
Yeah.
Late hit there for Cy Jones from Robert Bring. Doug Hewlick involved, Billy Elliser, Bob Dixon. Like a bit of checkup there on that inside line. Bobby Farrell in the 92 was having to lift for Martin in front of him.
Let's see that helicopter. Yeah, right here. Helicopter slow-mo. He starts going up there. Oh, yeah. See, it was a slow-mo, and then
he gets into the right rear. Yeah, he gets in the right rear of Bobby Farrell, does Greg Lovell. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Greg was in a similar situation back in the first race as well, where there was a checkup in front of him on the inside line off of 4. A little deja vu from a couple weeks ago. Cy Jones almost got through that wreck. He almost was able to shoot the gap between, I think it was Robert Spring and Doug Hulick. Just got clipped in the right rear quarter panel. Rodney Sullins came up on this incident. Only car 1 lap down, so he'll get the lucky dog. And again, yet another wreck here tonight that involved multiple cars, but not really a whole lot of damage sustained, so everybody should be good to go and still competitive. It's only going to be a handful of laps here, though. We're going to be just a little north of 10 laps to go, and for drivers that were involved in that wreck, that's obviously going to be a loss of track position. They're going to certainly hope that they're going to have enough time to make that ground back up here.
Yeah, it was a good heads-up play by Cyber. I just went back and focused on the 7 there. Hey, man, if they pave it, drive on it.
That's right.
He took that thing for a drive and almost got around it.
Robert Spring has stayed out. Going to get himself a bonus point for a lap lead. He'll be eventually turning the lead over to Grant Wesley. The timing of that yellow would have had us racing back to the caution. We were just outside of that window, so it was frozen field at the time the yellow waved, and Grant barely had his nose out in front of Joe DeSpirito. Now that Grant's got this track position, one of the best in the business of defending it, so we'll have to see if he can keep everyone in his rearview mirror. Joe DeSpirito, Denny Carroll, Bernie Mobbs, and Donnie Garrett look like they're going to be the top 5 when we get ready to go back green.
As predicted, Spring headed to the pits. Early pit stop for him, too. Like, not early, just, an early pit stall.
Yeah,
unfortunately, with the glitches we had early, we lost all the war wagons on pit road, so it doesn't look as complicated as it usually does. It's kind of vacant looking. It's one of the things when it happens with we have problems behind the scenes, is it tends to take away all the pit crews.
I thought we were going to be going back green next lap here, but looks like we're going to have an extra lap of pacing.
Should be an interesting one. Like you said, takes fuel strategy out, so I can't wait to see what's going to happen, who's going to position themselves just perfectly for this finish.
Everybody should be able to make it the rest of the way. They would have only had to have taken about a can of fuel on pit road, so might have seen just fuel only for most of these drivers. Maybe if you're towards the back, you elect to take on some right side tires. Maybe you go with a full 4-tire pit stop. Caution helped out a couple of drivers. I mentioned Rodney Sullivan's going to get back on the lead lap. Remember, Craig Hagley had that spin on the back straightaway, too. That allowed him to be able to catch up to the field. So very fortunate for him. It's still anybody's game. Granted, Rodney is off the pace, but all 38 drivers that are still running are all going to be on the lead lap, and we've seen a number of big ones here tonight in different areas of the racetrack, some up just inside of the top 10, some back in the mid-pack, some towards the rear of the field. If we end up having ourselves an incident up towards the front in the closing stages, some of these drivers that currently we see on the grid back in the 15th through 25th position, we could be talking about them finishing the night inside of the top 10. That's the unpredictability of superspeedway racing.
Rodney Sullins on the outside there, eagerly awaiting the lights to go off on the pace car so he can go for a 2.6 mile drive.
Of course, as well, we're not that far away from when we're going to be starting up the race within the race, the championship within the championship, if you will, here for Thursday nights. That bracket challenge championship, where the top 32 drivers in the point standings will be duking it out in a tournament-style matchup for the entirety of the season. up to and possibly including the season finale, depending on circumstances. Sometimes the championship is won in the race prior. Sometimes it goes to the season finale race. Brian Schilling, the defending two-time back-to-back champion so far here in the Bracket Challenge. A couple of drivers up here that have been kind of sneaky consistent that we might not have heard the last of here. Bernie Mobb second on that outside line, that one car. Josh Metallic right behind him. These two drivers have been up pretty consistently in the top 10 for the last 20 to 25 laps. And remember, we saw Brian Schilling on his roof sliding through the tri-oval for the first caution. He's up here in the 8th position. So talk about turning your fortunes from earlier on in the night.
Yeah, and the car came out of that accident with 0 marks on it. He was lucky enough just to try to do a couple of pirouettes on the door.
Hey, this mod is tough. You know, these cars are a little bit more durable than the previous ones.
Maybe when you got that sponsor, you're contractually obligated to have a Kodak moment every race, so he figured that would be it.
There it is.
Oh, I knew it. I knew he was going to do that.
Did you guys
No,
want
I'm
to ride
gonna
along with Schilling and do a crank it up?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
I'm going to eat a shortbread cookie while we do that.
Well, if everybody knows what this is, we use real sound pack as per Josh Metallic. I'm digging it. Turn your speakers up and we'll be quiet for a lap or two. Right along with Mr. Brian Schilling. Okay, we'll cut that short. We have an accident. Yellow
Yes,
flag
indeed.
back up.
Caution
Yeah.
out. 5th time tonight, and it looks like problems for the 880 of Greg Lovell. It's hard to tell. I thought maybe he missed a shift or may have lost a gear. It doesn't appear that was the case. Just maybe caught napping a little bit at restart, and it stacked him up behind. John Godfrey getting to the back of him, and Greg Palmer, then Ron Hagelin, and then it gets back to Garland Oaks, who jacks up the Coca-Cola machine. I don't know, a Dr. Pepper car wrecking a Coca-Cola car. There might be some nasty letters being sent between corporations after that one, but Joe DeSpirito, Cy Jones gets popped up into the air. Pretty much everybody in the latter portion of the field kind of getting swept up into that one. That was an odd one, too, because it looked like Greg was spaced well there with Ulysses, and then he kind of pulls up close to his right rear, lets off to put space between them again, and it was like after he let off at that point, he was never able to get forward momentum again. It just kind of as if he faded back to the nose of John Godfrey. So I'm not 100% certain what went on there. I went on board to listen and see if maybe there was a rev with a second gear missing. Didn't hear anything like that, so this now will make things more interesting for the close of this race, though, because this is more pacing lap, more laps ticking away here, and getting us closer and closer into shootout territory for the close of this race.
It's possible, too. Sometimes it's just a fumble, right? Like these guys are here. I mean, Greg's literally run tens of thousands of laps, but can't be perfect all the time.
Nope. I don't think Grant Wesley will argue too much of leading more laps here under caution. Right now, Mark Paglia would be in possession of the bonus point for most laps led, with 15 circuits out in front. Grant would have to lead the next 10 laps. Actually, he would have to pretty much lead up until the finish to be able to get that bonus point away from Paglia.
I mean, it's possible, right?
It is. Certainly is.
Not if Mark has anything to do with it.
That's true. I got an off-brand question for you guys. Have you guys ever had wafers before, like cookie wafers?
Say again, sorry?
Said, have you guys ever had like type of wafers you can get at the store?
No.
I don't think I have.
We are talking cookies, so I should know this.
Right? I was given 0 sugar because of my diabetes peanut butter wafers. Never had them before. I was curious if maybe any of you guys have ever tried.
Nope.
A lot of that like sugar-free, like vegan stuff now, it's actually really good.
Yes,
Back
actually it is.
Back in the
Cookie
olden
this-
days, most of that stuff tastes like dirt. But now it's like, oh, that's not actually cheese. That's scrumptious.
Back then it wasn't supposed to have taste.
No, exactly. Now you
I
can, like
can't
we have
believe it's not cheese.
exactly. Well, it's crazy. Like we have a poutine fest going on across the street here, right? So, but there'll be like vegan trucks in there, and I'll just try it. The wife's a vegetarian, right? So hey,
I mean, you only got one
the gravy,
life, right?
yeah, the gravy isn't. You know, there's nothing in the gravy that'll mess with you, and they've even got cheese curd that's not even real curd. It tastes amazing. I don't know what it's made out of, but you know, whatever. Tastes a little bit different from the other stuff, but it still tastes good.
You don't know, and you don't dare ask.
Yeah, who cares, right? Whatever. You gotta die of something. If it's gonna be eating a poutine, why not? If you don't know what that is, you guys know what poutine is down there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I mean, I heard of it, but I don't exactly know what it was. I thought it was some type. I thought it was a type of cheese, but
It's French fry. It's a bucket of French fries with like cheese curd and gravy. But some of these places, we have a local place here called Bastini's, and they are obnoxious with their poutine. You can get like a cheeseburger poutine. It's awesome.
Not far enough north in New York, but there's a lot of northern New York places that are.
You had
very
to
into
until you
poutine.
said gravy.
Oh, the gravy's good. You would love it.
It's
I
the
guarantee
vehicle.
you would love it.
Now, are you the type of people that doubt sausage gravy? Yes or no?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Sure. What is that?
I've never tried it, but you try everything once. It's like you never tried it,
You've
but try
never
everything
had
once.
sausage gravy before?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I want to.
You don't know what you're missing. Okay, what is it? It's milk, flour, and a little bit of water. Make it from scratch, and then your breakfast sausage. You cook that up, add it in, and oh my gosh! If you get it the right consistency, put it over some biscuits and gravy. Fire.
Oh man! Thanks everybody for tuning in to the FRN Tarnation TV cooking channel, where we share our recipes while we watch the front row of Wesley and Carol come to the green flag.
Yes, I was gonna say we're under caution, so we have time to talk about
Yeah,
this.
we do. And I've got some allergies, so I got a really cool radio voice. Sunday.
This just in.
Yeah.
Breaking
Breaking
news.
weather with Blaine.
Yeah. Breaking news. Lap 57 is about to come to a close. FRN,
Cloudy
back to
with
you.
a chance of cautions.
Yeah. Just a couple.
Just a few.
Let's go to Blaine with the weather. It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain. Who wants this dog?
All right, 9-lap shootout to decide this one here tonight.
Oh,
Will
man.
we see a
TB2,
third?
Seth. I want to see if anyone crashes.
Will we see a third different winner on the season? We've still got our 2 previous winners up here inside of the top. Looks like 11. Denny Carroll's restart on the outside of the front row. Chuck McClure from the inside of row number 6. So it's not outside the realm of possibility this early on in the season to call somebody a multi-time winner.
Absolutely.
You know, when we didn't broadcast, well, we thought we were broadcasting the first 9 laps, but apparently we weren't. So, hey, if you're going to broadcast 9 laps, it might as well be the last 9.
There you go.
Technical glitches aside, this race has been pretty awesome.
Never a disappointment on Thursday nights. You never know what kind of a race you're going to be in for. We've seen everything from photo finishes to fuel strategy races. Not going to see that here tonight, as everybody is good to make it on races. Fuel.
Ooh, they're getting all over the place here. 3 wide starting already back there. That is the 6 and the 1 on the outside. Brian Rawson trying to get that lane going here. In the middle lane, kind of just not performing very well now. If I was Randy Luigi, I would at some point get ready to move up to that 3rd lane, because right now...
Ooh, contact!
Oh, and he hit the apron too.
Hagley and Breedlove, little paint traded right there as they're 3 wide with Rawson on that 3rd lane. It's interesting to me because we've really seen so far here tonight, as soon as that 3rd lane forms, it seems to fizzle out when it gets alongside of the 2nd lane. And they still continue to doggedly try that 3rd line here.
Wow. A lot of movement out there, man. Holy moly. Kirill upped it to the top.
They're just trying, they can't get rid of their momentum. It's the one thing that that even Dale Earnhardt Jr. would tell you when it comes to racing, especially with these types, is you cannot lose your momentum. It's, a lot of times you see cars get up behind somebody and then just bump them, and that ruins their momentum. No, you need to take every run you can get, especially in these later stages.
That's what Jeremy Jeffries just did right there. He went from the top to the middle, bypassed about 3 cars, and then pulled back up in front of Joe DeSpirito to lead that middle line. Now, granted, as he gained those 3 spots, about 2 or 3 drivers on the inside line went by him. So kind of evened out in a sense here, as he's now battling side by side just outside of the top 10 with Richard Martin.
We saw Denny Carroll go up to block the outside lane, and that's when everybody kind of just went in every other different direction there. Something that we have seen out of Denny before. I mean, when you're just trying to get the momentum, you got to know when you're able to get it and when you're and help that outside lane. Now that's the question.
I was looking back there for a split second at the 09 of Chris Elliott. It looks like he kind of got lost in the middle line there, and he did find a spot back on the bottom. But we're focused on the top runners right now here at the front.
Well, we like to poke fun of him a lot, and here he is running on the outside lane in the middle of the here. The 48 of Cody Lamas. What do we call him? The
the alpaca in the back.
Yeah, and until I don't really feel like he's got enough laps left to get up to the front here, but
he's trying. And that Randy LaJoie throwback of John Godfrey.
John Godfrey.
And they're trying something further up front here, too. Brian Schilling's now jumped up to that outside line. So, too, is Robert Breedlove and Randy Waugh.
Luigi. Now, the outside lane can get a good run going up on there. They're gonna catch up to that 28 car. The question is, will the 711 go 3 wide, or will he try to just... Because like I said, the suck up on this specific setup with these mod isn't that great. You have to really get you got to pedal to really get that momentum.
If you're Brian Schilling, you do not want that 3rd line to start forming, because right now they're trying to build that momentum in the 2nd groove. You need all those cars behind you to be able to complete that surge. If that 3rd line jumps out, that's all your energy gone.
Well, Grant's got to be watching that outside lane, because right now there's only 5 cars on the inside, while the rest of them are pretty much on the outside.
And they got
also, I think in that point of no return, I think the next flag would end the race.
Yes, right now, if a flag came out, it would end the race. So... whatever happens at this point is going to happen. Here comes the 4 on the outside. Will the 88 go up to block? And if he does, it's got to happen right after turn 2, right on the exit of turn 2, because that's when the momentum's going to pick up with that outside.
Less than 3 to go. Looked like the inside line was a little better that time.
Wow.
For 1 and 2.
They were really putting out. See, 88 couldn't get up there to block. Now that's going to really cost him.
What a shot, though. That 4 just got... It looked like a pretty violent hit, but, man, that's what we call bump dropping.
That was a chain bump and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, seeing some movement middle of the pack there. Bernie Mobbs and Chuck McClure.
Somebody just went 3 wide back there. And it might force a 3 wide move back there. Yeah, maybe he was able to get back inside because I saw someone just move up to the outside lane here. Now look, side by side, inside lane is, oh my gosh, my voice. Inside the line is going to get the momentum now, but this really looks like a good even pack, Seth.
That last time by with 2 to go, Brian Schilling 5/1000ths of a second
he's
over
clear
Grant
now.
Wesley.
He's clear to the bottom now. The question is, will he go or will he stay? You're the 4. What do you got to stay, right?
I think you stay in the middle. I think you've got
yeah.
to. The momentum's there. If a third line starts forming behind and you're clear, then you go to the bottom. I think for right now you stay in that middle
there
group.
Goes. Trying. Cody's gonna try, but he can't get the momentum. White flag, 1 lap to go.
Whatever happens here. For 2.66 miles, Schilling and Wesley, a couple of former champions trying to get their first wins on the season. Wesley, the advantage off of 2. Here comes the surge of the middle line, and they're starting to form back here. This is not what Schilling needs. This is going to kill that middle groove.
There it goes.
He just
Randy
lost.
There it goes. 4
wide.
Oh, this isn't good.
Holy moly.
Breedlove and Lamas make contact.
They're wrecking in the back.
All that energy gone for Schilling. Can Garrett maybe get to the outside of Wesley?
Oh, what a block.
I think that's done it. That 1 block's going to be enough. Wesley's going to hold him off. And Wesley is going back to victory lane.
That was quite a finish right there.
Grant came into this one 15th in points, scored his first top 10 of the season last week. And he will, with this victory, tie Mark Paglia for most laps led on the night. So I would assume a bonus point goes to both of them. More importantly for Grant now, rest of this regular season, he can worry about getting more wins, getting some more playoff points in preparation for the postseason as he looks to add another championship trophy to his collection.
What a fantastic finish.
And there's always that one point of the race you could kind of go back to as the difference maker. The timing of that last caution when Grant was able to just barely be ahead of Joe DeSpirito made him the control car for the remainder of the race and allowed him to be able to play defense. Some great blocks there on that last lap to keep Donnie Garrett at bay off of turn 4. I'll be honest, I thought that there was a big chance both those guys could possibly bumper grab with just how close that block was and how close that move was by the 77. It's nice to see they both actually made it back to the start-finish line 1-2. Chevrolet's got a bit of a grip hold on the victories so far this season. 3 in a row for the bow ties. And they actually will sweep the entire top 5 here tonight with Garrett, Metallic, the rest of the podium, Schilling, and Mobbs, the remainder of the top 5.
We're trying to get footage of Wesley doing a burn down, but it's tough through all the smoke.
He's in there somewhere.
I can hear him. I know he's in there somewhere. There he is.
A couple of drivers had some issues in the closing stages of this race too. I believe at around 2-3 to go, Greg Lovell and Ulysses Sandoval with some connection issues. So they're going to finish 37th and 38th as a result of that one. But despite the fact that we had a total of 7 cautions here tonight, 36 drivers made it to the checkered flag, all on the lead lap. So Grant Wesley now going to add his name to the list of those that have taken a checkered flag here in season 66 and are going to be going playoff racing, provided he stays above the 20th position in points for the remainder of the regular season. We're going to be talking with him in victory lane in just a moment, but let's see if we can dial up our other podium finishers here tonight. And let's kick things off with the driver of the number 39 machine. Third place performance here tonight for Josh Metallic. Hey Josh, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. Got a copy?
I got you guys.
Great run for you here tonight, up inside of the top end, pretty much the entire second half of this race. We ended up seeing a lot of decision making have to go on there in the final 2 laps or so. A lot of drivers trying to figure out, do I go up to that third lane? Do I stay here in this middle lane? If there's a hole open to the bottom, do I take that? Energy has been a huge talking point here this season with this track mod setup combination. How difficult has it been? Have you seen any similarities or differences from last season to this season? And what adjustments have you had to make maybe accordingly?
No, it feels the same. It is the same track. It looks different. It's got a wider pit road, but for me, it drives just the same. I don't feel any differences out there. It has the same characteristics. When you get too wide, the low line starts to go. Or when you're 3 wide, the low line goes. 2 wide, the middle lane likes to get moving. But we had the low line going pretty good a lot of the evening there, especially at the end. It wasn't doing as bad as it normally does. So I stayed low. I knew eventually that third lane would start coming up there. I thought I'd do it sooner and I'd be able to clear the other 2 lanes and make more of a run towards Grant and Donnie, but it didn't really show up to the last lap, so I kind of ran out of time. But I knew down there I'd be probably safe if all hell broke loose or something. So definitely happy with the top 3.
You know, we talked about before you guys took the green flag this evening, it seems like now we get into the portion of the regular season where drivers, if they can't find victory lane, they look for a sense of consistency here to be able to keep themselves up in the point standings. A number of drivers have run well in one race and then had some hardships in the second race. You've been able to find that consistency right out of the gate. You came into tonight with 2 races under your belt, 5th in the standings, another podium finish here tonight. What have you been able to find here that's given you this consistency in the beginning portion of this season, and what have gleaned off of these first 3 races can you do to be able to continue this consistency, keep yourself up in this conversation week after week for a checkered flag?
It's been a lot of luck. I don't know if you guys caught the one wreck that I absolutely 100% should have been involved in and somehow avoided it by just pure luck. So luck's a big part of it. I got through it. Rodney got destroyed, unfortunately. So just being able to avoid some of the mistakes or other people's cautions or pit road penalties are big. If you're in the top 10 and you get an EOLL, you just threw away 30 spots. I mean, that may be your night, even on a super speedway. So just try not to do anything to put myself in a bad spot. And so far, it's been a lot of luck just avoiding the wrecks. I know, it always evens out, so I'm kind of worried about what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks, but so far, so good.
Obviously, in previous seasons, we've seen the alternation between Talladega Superspeedway and Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, but we're here at Talladega the entire season. Does that help as well? Maybe to be at the same track every Thursday night to be able to establish that kind of consistency rather than having to kind of readjust to the racing characteristics of a different track?
I think a little bit. The lanes drawn on the track between Talladega V3, RTG V3, and BSR were different, so it kind of messes with you. You want to follow the lanes, so it does make guys kind of drive differently, or at least different spots of the track, whether they mean to or not. But beyond that, it's the same. We've all done it enough. It should be almost muscle memory with your eyes closed, being able to turn these laps. We've done it for so long. So I haven't noticed too many problems or any differences. Pit road's great. We came out 3 or 4 wide under a caution one time. I'm like, this is so comfy down here. So thanks, John Godfrey, for the expanded pit road.
Another great performance for you here in the early stages of this season. Podium run here in race number 3. Certainly got to think based off of what the points looked like coming into tonight, looking at the finishing results and everything, you're going to be up there in the conversation to go into next week. If not the points leader, very much so in the conversation. I mean, could be single digits, very minuscule margin for you to be able to maybe take the points lead after next week. Congratulations on a great start to the season. Solid run here tonight, up inside of the top 10 pretty much the entirety of the second half of this race. Had to pass quite a number of cars starting mid-pack to do so, but we'll now give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Appreciate it. First shout out to Tim. He's watching his Bills tonight. Looks like it's a pretty good game, so I'm glad he didn't give up racing for a bad game to watch. But appreciate Tim and Rodney every week. Schilling even helped me last week with the incident report. Jeremy was doing the points for us before I even got around to doing it. All the admins just pick up the slack whenever we need help. And Prime, he's navigating without bones. The guy, the founder, the original. So we're still trying to fill his shoes, and Prime's done a lot. I know he's got a lot on his plate that he's dealing with, so appreciate him for sure. You guys, Blaine, Youssef, Michael, I think the new broadcasts are awesome. We always enjoy them, and anything we can do to doctor it up. I think it's been a pretty good show so far. Really enjoyed watching it. Enjoy what you guys do with it. It's fun to go back and watch them. And the drivers, we're still filling up the server. You hate sending guys home, but at the same time, it's a good issue to have that, people want to show up and race and pack the server each night. So appreciate all them. We're still too many cautions again tonight, but there's some darn good racing between all those cautions. So hopefully we can make those green stretches go longer. But that's it. Appreciate it.
Well, definitely some good racing for sure. Wild finish here tonight, and you bring it home in the third position. Congratulations on the great run tonight. Hopefully we can see this consistency continue for the 39 car heading into next week.
Will do. Appreciate it, guys.
Also, we might be missing the first 20 laps of this broadcast.
Well,
you caught
yeah.
The part that mattered. The finish is what counts.
Once this goes into video on demand mode, it'll actually just skip. There won't be dead air on the replay. Live there was dead air, but once the video's done, it'll be fine. You'll just notice it'll go from like lap 2 to 26 or something.
Teleported in time.
Yeah, it'll just go, well, what just happened? I'm like, well, we weren't broadcasting for about 15 minutes, so we had a technical bomb go off behind the scenes. So when we figured it out, we were scrambling, but we made it work.
Yeah, I saw it happen in the beginning, but you caught the parts that matter. Everyone wants to see the finish, so no worries.
Thanks, Josh.
That's Josh Metallic, third place here tonight. Congratulations once again on the good run.
Thank you.
See if we can get a hold of our second place finisher here tonight. Had a heck of a move there off of turn 4, but just could not get around the 88. Let's dial up Donnie Garrett. Hey, Donnie, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Sure, I got you, man. Been a long time.
It has indeed. I'll tell you what, though. You had a perfect plan there off of turn 4. So you go to the top, go to the bottom, almost able to fake out Grant to be able to try and get some kind of a run back there to the checkered flag. Now, I'll be honest, I was personally a little nervous because we've seen quite a number of bumper grab incidents with this mod, and that seemed to look very close to bumper grab there. I'm glad you made it at least to the checkered flag inside of the podium, but talk to me about the mentality there off of 4, because obviously you've struggled here these first 2 races. A solid finish is going to give you some points, but looked like you really wanted that golden ticket into the playoffs.
Well, I tell you, I've been in 2 races. I was third now, but in the first 2 races, I was wrecked 6 times. Not any of my doing, but I've been wrecked 6 times. And last week, if you remember, Dante had a great push and was pushing me to the win, and the 28 just come off the bottom and just basically run over me. And I probably might have got that win because I think Dante was going to stick with me. And so I ended up 32nd. So I went from the lead to 32nd. And So tonight, I told Grant, I said, I wasn't going to push that issue too much. I need a finish, man. I need a good finish. And and Grant's a good guy. He's a good buddy of mine. So I wasn't going to make it too hard on him, but I just needed a good finish.
A lot of decision making had to be done there in the closing stages of this one. We saw that middle line had a good surge. That third line started coming up there. Some of the guys in that second groove moving up to that point. How difficult was it to kind of maybe have one eye out the windshield, but one eye in the rearview mirror too, trying to figure out where that energy was going to be?
Well, I wanted to jump up there on that second line because I think they would have pushed me, but you see guys do that sometimes, and that whole line just puts you in the middle and they go around the outside of you. So you got to think about that too. And again, you got to think about, the last 2 weeks and where I'm at in points, and I got to get out of this hole. And it's a very humbling sport at times. And so, I mean, like I say, it was just that. Usually I'd get a little more aggressive than that, but again, I needed a good finish. And, I don't mind giving up one to Grant, but, I think I could have made it a little harder on him. But again, I just wanted a good finish for tonight just to try to jump up, because I think I was 30th in points or something, but I almost might have had to qualify if I'd have gotten a wreck. So I'm not the best qualifier in the world. So I figured, you know what, you weigh all those options, and all those options are going through your head, a mile a minute. And, that little thing sits on one shoulder and the other one sits on the other. The other one shoulder's telling you, go, 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 you got to win this thing. And the other shoulder's going, no, man, come on now. You need a good finish here. So tonight, the good guy won.
I want to touch on that just a little bit more because, 27th in points coming into tonight. And I believe I've mentioned this before, that it seems like a driver's mentality, what their goal for the night is based off of a couple things, maybe where the random qualifying draw puts them, and as you documented, where you were in points after 2 races. So 27th in points here tonight. We'll wait to see what the updated standings put you at, but at what point in the standings position-wise do you think then we kind of start to get a little bit more aggressive and maybe try a little bit more unorthodox move to try and get that victory? Where's the comfort level points-wise where you then notch it up just a little bit more?
Do you want the political answer or the honest answer?
Either one or both.
It honestly depends on who I'm around up there. That's the honest answer. I mean, I had Josh behind me, Grant in front of me, 2 of the best out here, 2 of the safest guys to be around. But if the situations were different and there were different drivers up there, yeah, I'm just going to sit out of the way. And, these guys' moves. And so I guess that's about as honest as I could get on that one.
Well, Donnie, I got some good news for you. Obviously, 3rd race of the season, so points are still pretty close. You came in tonight 27th in the standings. I know you wanted that victory, but 2nd place leapfrogs you to 12th in points going into next week. So a major jump in the standings. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, we're going to open up the floor to you for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I got to dedicate this win to Bones, man. Unfortunately, I just found out today I'm actually going to be on my anniversary trip during the Bones Memorial Race night. I actually hate that because I really wanted to be part of that, but unfortunately, I'll be out of town. But definitely got to dedicate that to him. Just a great, selfless guy, and great for Grant to win tonight. Hopefully, he'll remember that and pay me back. At some other point, he won't make it so hard on me. And Josh here finishing in there behind us. Just a good run all night. Just biding my time. Want to give it up to Ultimate Garage Floors, my sponsor. If Lucas is still watching, I want to give a shout to Lucas, my buddy, little nephew. He was watching tonight, and I don't know if he's had made to go to bed yet or not. But I was going to tell him, give him a shout out, show him I went finish 2nd tonight. And but thank you guys, and look forward to getting back at it next week.
Donnie Garrett, he started 26th here tonight, brings it home in the 2nd position and makes a major gain in the point standings as a result. Congratulations on the great run here tonight. Hopefully this may get you a foothold to be able to be getting those consistent finishes here for the remainder of the regular season. Best of luck next week.
Thank you, buddy. Woo!
Donnie Garrett, the Nature Boy runner-up here tonight at Talladega. To the driver that we're going to go down and talk to in victory lane. Let's see if we can get a hold of Grant Wesley. Hey, Grant, the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Man, I'll tell you what, I mentioned about the fact in a lot of these races, we go back to a certain point, and it kind of seems to be the turning point, the difference maker into who's going to be parking their machine down in victory circle. The timing of one of those cautions, you had half a car length out in front of the 24. You guys were just north of having race back. It was frozen field, made you the control car for the remainder of this one. We know you always seem to be comfortable in that position playing defense, but you had your hands full with Donnie Garrett on that final lap.
Yeah, man, what a race. Early on in the race, I kind of stuck to that second lane. That's kind of the preferred method, and man, I got freight trained like 3 times tonight, and the wreck would happen right in front of me. I'd miss it, restart 10th, get another shot at it, and just rinse and repeat. I did that all night long. Late in the race, I restarted on the inside. I kind of looked at the F2. I seen some good guys there behind me. Donnie and Josh, and Chuck was down there, and Bernie. Those guys stuck with me there at the end. Man, I'm super appreciative to them for that. But, just thrilled to get this win this early in the season.
You had some decisions to make there in the closing stages, too. At one point, we saw that middle line get a run down the back straightaway. Eventually, Schilling got to your outside as you headed into turn 3, and you guys were knotted, door to door for about a lap and a half. Was there any point as you guys were side by side that you were thinking, man, maybe I should have moved up and blocked that second groove, or were you hoping that maybe that third line was going to form and that energy was going to stall out?
I kind of got a sense of deja vu there whenever I seen Schilling coming, which I didn't actually know who it was because Schilling had that issue with dropping out earlier, so it was a blue car. But yeah, it was Schilling, and sure enough, that lane came. I thought about moving up, but I had such great help in the 77 and the guys that were behind me. We were meshing well together. Whenever you get a line where there's not a bunch of guys jumping around side to side, I felt like that bottom line could stick it out and be there at the end. I also had a feeling that maybe that third lane may develop and those guys get to racing hard, and I think that's exactly what happened. I think there might have been a wreck there in the last corner. So yeah.
Victory early on here in the season. Still quite a bit of regular season still to go, so opportunity to put this 88 in victory lane a few more times, rack up some more playoff points. Getting this weight off your shoulders here 3 races in. What can we expect to see in terms of maybe a little bit more added aggression here in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, just the same old, I guess. Trying to lead some laps and lead the most laps each race, try to get those bonus points. They really add up, and I'd really like to be up there at least in the top 5 in the final point standings in the regular season to get those bonus points going into the chase. They really help you a lot. So, yeah, man, caution to the wind. Let's get some more checker flags.
Talk about that positioning in the points with the victory in your hip pocket here tonight. You move up 9 spots to 6th in points coming into the conclusion of this one and heading into next week's race. Certainly as well, opportunity to get up in the regular season championship. Plenty of regular season for that as well. And of course, currently in a high seeded position when we have that bracket challenge starting up in a few weeks time as well. Grant, congratulations on the victory here tonight, locking yourself into the postseason. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in just a moment, but first we're going to hand over the microphone to you for some victory lane thank you, sponsors, and shout outs.
Yeah, thanks. I'd like to thank the owners here. Sean Prime, obviously we all miss David Cannon. Sean's taken on a huge role, and man, he's running with it. Him and the whole team of guys, it's been putting these races together and putting the show on. Man, it just feels like we're stronger than ever right now. With the huge car counts, still doing knockout Q, man, it's just a blessing to really be a part of it. I'd like to thank the admins here on Thursday, Josh, Rodney, and Tim. That's a lot of changes this season. The new track, which is phenomenal. The wide pit road, great changes. FRN, Tarnation TV, man, so awesome to be up here with you guys. So glad you guys have joined forces here for this season. Welcome Blaine, and thank you guys, Mike, Blaine, Seth, for taking time out for us. My teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend Brittany.
Well, that's Grant Wesley. He brings it home with the victory here tonight. He is locked in the playoffs, and he will make some further preparations for the postseason here for the remainder of this regular season. Congratulations on the victory here tonight. Go enjoy it, and best of luck next week.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Awesome run, Grant. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Blaine.
Grant Wesley, third different winner on the season. Chevrolet currently has swept the first 3 wins, and subsequently, all 3 of our former winners now will head into next week inside of the top 6 in points. It's interesting, coming into tonight, Denny Carroll had a 2-point lead over Chuck McClure. We have flipped the script. Now Chuck McClure, a 2-point lead over Denny Carroll. Metallic, Schilling, John Godfrey has jumped up into the top 5 in the standings. So we're starting to see a number of drivers that have got the weight off their shoulders. They've been able to pick up victories here. They know they're going playoff racing, but we've also started to see a number of drivers that they've been able to kind of find their footing, been able to find that consistency here. And we've seen during the course of previous seasons, we've seen multiple drivers go to victory lane for the first time in their career or cut a long winless streak. I'm looking at some of these guys up here inside of the top 10 in the standings right now. John Godfrey, as I mentioned, in 5th. You've got Bernie Mobbs in 7th. Randy Waugh in 8th. Javier Negron in 10th. It's not outside the realm of possibility. These guys hitting this consistency early on in the season that we could find them in victory lane before the end of the regular season.
You didn't give me my pause. I'm very upset with you.
I gave you a pause. You didn't take it.
Oh, you did not. Sir, now hurry up. Finish up. Gosh.
We could go back to an instant
I'm mad
replay,
at
but
you.
I'm afraid everything will break down again.
Fair enough. But we've ended up having scenarios where we've had 9 regular season races. I think there was one season that we had an expedited 8 regular season races, and we've seen 9 different drivers go to victory lane. I don't know, with what we've seen here in these first 3 weeks, I'm getting that kind of a vibe where we could end up seeing every single race have a different winner here in the regular season, which is going to make things very congested for that minimum 12 playoff positions in the postseason.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see who's going to be the one for that playoff season as well, Seth. I mean, we got 3 different winners now. What was the season? It was a couple of seasons ago where we had up to, 10 different winners?
I think it was 10 different winners in 10 races, yeah.
And 51, I'm showing 51 drivers have already been in and out of here in the first 3. So, I mean, that'll just climb every week. We've added a couple more this week after I ran through the stats. So, and of course, most laps led so far after 3, 46 laps led by Grant Wesley. 46 laps led out of 198.
All right, so I retract my statement about not seeing Grant up at the front most of this season.
He is a lap leading machine, that is for sure. I mean, we ended up seeing in the point stands and everything, and thanks to Jeremy Jeffries, Josh Metallic, all the staff here, they always have that the point stands calculated for us before we go off the air, so we have that information, to be able to give to the viewers and everything. Here tonight, number of drivers were able to leapfrog through the standings with good runs. A number of drivers plummeted in the standings with poor performances, and the points are still super close. It's going to take a while here in this regular season before we get to seeing drivers have a good run and maybe only move up 2, 3, 4 spots in the standings. There are going to be huge chunks gained or lost still in these upcoming weeks. Points are still close. Next week could be a difference maker of who's going to be just above, just below that cut line of top 12 in the standings. It's going to be a lot of fun to really watch around that area to see who's going to get maybe those last-minute points-paying playoff positions here in Season 66. But congratulations to Grant Wesley. Becomes the 3rd different winner on the season. So far, we've had 2 former champions and a first-time winner in these first 3 races. What does next week have in store? You're going to have to join us next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to find out, as we'll bring you another simulcast with Flatout Racing Network and Tar Nation
I will
TV.
be there.
Thanks to everybody for tuning into our coverage on both of the respective channels. For Michael Norman, Blaine Donlin, our producer, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys in a week's time as we continue on the 66th season of the Run Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on Tarnation TV and Flatout Racing Network. Good night, everyone.